When I met my husband, I wasn't looking for a husband. When I met my husband, I did not know that he was the one. A guy just walks up to me on the staircase and says, "Oh, hi, I saw your picture on your bunkmate's WhatsApp status. Congratulations. I saw that you went for your convocation and you graduated with a first class degree. That's really nice, because I also graduated with a first class degree." I was like, okay. But that registered something in my mind. Like, oh, we might share similar values. I was living in NYC family house when I met my husband, right? So if you had told me the day I stepped into that building that I was going to meet my husband in that house where 100 of us were living, I would have said no. The first point under today's message is the one is not far from you, but it depends on how far you can go. Everything starts with you. So when he says, "Oh, congratulations, I also graduated with the first class," I wasn't seeing it as him trying to market himself, even if that's what he was trying to do. What registered in my head was that we share similar values. But if I did not have that value of maybe discipline, resilience, dedication, you know what it is to graduate with the first class degree. The first class degree here is not the focus, but the values. If you go to a conference and you are a cake baker and you go to a prayer conference and you meet a cake supplier, something would connect within you, right? Because you probably share similar work ethics. You know the rules of the game. That was what happened that day. So I registered this guy in my head. Can you see that everything starts with me? Everything starts with the value in me. So when you know yourself, last Sunday we talked about self-awareness. When you know yourself and you consider yourself as the one, as a single lady, you filter your options. You narrow your decision-making time. You don't waste your single energy. You know, there are three things you have as a single lady. We'll talk about that another day. You have energy, you have time, and you have space. Once you're married, you don't have that anymore, or it becomes limited. So when you're single, you don't waste those resources because you already know that you are the one. You are the one you're looking for. Whether you're conscious of this fact or not, your level of development, your level of exposure, your level of transformation will determine the kind of partner that you attract. So I met this guy on another date and he's like, "Oh, hi, I love the way you answered the question during the fellowship." Now we had finished the fellowship and I answered the question, and he talks about paying of tithe. He just mentions how a man's lifting is linked to his tithing and how you cannot convince him not to pay tithe. That was the second thing that registers this guy in my mind. Because I don't joke with my 10%. I don't joke with my tithe since I was a child. It's my mom that passed that thing on to us, you know. Anyway, one day I go for my CDS, right? You know that biometrics we do to collect our 19,800. So I go out and I see that this guy is the president of that CDS group, like he's the leader or something like that. I wasn't really involved. So we entered the same bus from the CDS location in Area 1 to Nyanya, where we were living at that time. He said something about his parents and how he's the last of 8 children, and when they come back from work, when his dad comes back from work, his dad would tell his mom about his day in a dialect that the children don't understand. And he was trying to emphasize on how his dad and mom were friends and how he admires that about them. Now, note that this guy is not asking me out. There was no string attached, but I'm guessing right now that he was liking me at that time. Now, this registers something in my head because that's exactly how my parents are. If you're from a dysfunctional family, number one, if you're broke, number two, you're going to attract what you know, what is familiar to you. Why do you think, why am I holding this? Why do you think people that maybe came from dysfunctional families, if they are not careful, they would also end up with something that they are familiar with? Someone that has daddy issues or saw their dad constantly beat their mom, maltreat them, abuse them, will probably end up with somebody like that. The one begins with you. The second point I want to bring out from this topic is that the one is attracted to the light that you carry. The question is that, do you carry that light? Or are you aware of the light you carry? Or are you turning it off? Are you just waiting for the one to come and find you? You know, I said in point one that the one is not far from you. There's a theory that is called the 6 degrees of separation theory. I stumbled on it one time that says everybody is connected in a way. Everybody is six persons or less far from each other. So it means that when my predecessor that introduced me to that house that year during my NYC was telling me to come to that house, she knew my husband, but she did not know him. Do you understand? When Joseph's brothers sold him to Egypt, And then somehow he got to Potiphar's house, he got to the prison, he got to the palace because of his gifts. It means that his brothers knew he was going to get married to Pharaoh's daughter, but they did not know. So the one is not far away. If the one is in Canada, you have to get to Canada somehow. When Ruth found a husband, she wasn't looking for a husband, she was working on herself. When Esther became the wife of the king, when she became the queen, she was not looking for a husband. She was there for purpose, to rescue the Jews. She was there for destiny. So when you meet a husband, or when God gives you a husband, you're not going to be in that mood or in that mindset of looking for a husband and just waiting for someone to come and define who you are. Number 3, the one is not a particular person. I'm going to wrap up with this because I'm pressed for time. Think about Joseph. When he got to the prison, he could have told the cupbearer that, dear cupbearer, as you are going out now and they are releasing you, make sure you go back to Potiphar and tell Potiphar that when I come out, I will deal with his wife for putting that allegation on me and saying that I almost raped her, and that's what made me to be in prison. Right? That's not what Joseph did. Joseph said, let the king know that I'm innocent of this crime. He allowed the cupbearer to know his gift. I interpret dreams. This is who I am. That is what you should be doing with your singlehood. You have speed. You should be aware of who you are, because your identity will help you to discharge your responsibilities where you have trained your hand. Because David had trained his hands with killing of lions, bear, Goliath was not, it was like a walkover for him. I already said the story of Joseph, right? If Joseph had remained on that level of, I will fight my brothers, or if he had remained on the level of, Potiphar, when I'm back to your house, guess who he would have married? A slave. But because he was pressed on, I must focus on my dream, I must develop myself, then the one became Pharaoh's wife. Because when he interpreted the dream and they made him second in command, the Bible records that Pharaoh gave him his daughter. That's a Pharaoh's wife. Pharaoh's daughter. So he got married to a princess. Trust me, the one is not a particular person. Like, oh God, where is the particular man? Yes, there's a particular kind of man that is designed for your destiny, for your purpose. Do you understand? So it is always based on your level of transformation. If you have not gotten the Single Ladies Devotional, it's a system that I've created. It's a manual to transform you. 5 minutes every day is all you need to sit with the word, and it will show you who you are, what you carry. All this one that you're always broke, it will teach you how to save. Oh, the right men know approach me. It will teach you how to carry yourself. It will teach you how to hear from God. So it is still up to you. When Joseph sat in the prison walls, I wonder what he was thinking. Use your imagination. You are in Agege, you are in Ajegunle. Somebody told me, you don't understand. There's no love in Lagos. I said, what kind of love do you want? I said, yeah, start imagining it. Use your imagination. The Bible says God is able to do exceedingly above all you can think or imagine. Some people don't think, talk less of imagining. As you sit in that stage that you don't like, imagine the palace. Stop imagining Potiphar's house, because it is as far as your eyes can see. It's based on what you know. So what do you know? Do you know what God actually wants you to know? So everything starts with you. If you watched up until this point, write it in the comment section. I am a shining light. I am everything that God has called me to be. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and share, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.